Okay, so today what we're looking at is the events leading up to the Texas Revolution. Yesterday we talked about the Fredonian Rebellion as well as the Multi-Marker-4 report. Today we're going to build on what we learned from yesterday. You're going to continue to add to your lap book. So today we're going to start with the decree or law of April 6, 1830. So you should be on this section of your lap book. Right here. This is what we're writing today for this first one. But we'll have this side completely finished by the end of the class today. So the decree of April 6, 1830. Okay, before we can discuss the decree of April 6, 1830, we're going to go back a little bit. The Multi-Marker-4 report was created by Multi-Marker-4, who was hired to investigate situations that were taking place in Texas. Okay? So he came to Texas, and as he surveyed different colonies and groups in Texas, he figured out one thing. What did he figure out?
Who did you say?
Multi-Marker-4. What did he figure out? What was the major problem that was going on in Texas? The U.S. were ignoring the Mexican laws. They weren't following the laws that Mexico had set. What he knows about the population? It was mostly the Anglo-Americans. They outnumbered the Mexican settlers 10-1. So for every one Mexican settler, there was 10 Anglo settlers in the colonies. So that caused a problem, and it alarmed the Mexican government because they were now believing that they were going to have an issue with citizens not being loyal to the Mexican government. They weren't obeying the laws, and now they outnumbered the number of Mexican people that were in Texas. So in comes the law of April 6, 1830. And it created a few laws that was geared towards Texas. Okay? So the Mexican government passed several new laws for Texas.
Can you write that?
Mariah, can you read the law or something?
The law of April 6, 1830. Number 1. Outlaw further immigration from the United States.
Okay, stop right there. Okay, so now you can no longer move from the United States into Texas. They outlawed it, so it's now illegal. So they were trying to decrease the number of immigrants coming in. So they stopped immigration altogether. Okay, read the next one.
Encourage European and Mexican colonists to move to Texas.
So they wanted to make sure they would increase their numbers. So they wanted more Spanish settlers to come in. They wanted more Mexican settlers to come in. But they didn't want any more from the United States. Read the next one.
Added taxes to any goods coming from the U.S.
Okay, to further punish the U.S., anything that was purchased and brought into Texas that came from the United States, you had to pay more fees. You had to pay more taxes. So it cost you more to get those goods that came from the United States. Why? Because they wanted you to buy things that came from Mexico. They wanted you to support their economy, not the economy of the United States. Okay, the next one.
Establish new forts and send soldiers to live in Texas.
So they created more forts in the state of Texas, or in the area of Texas, because at this point it's not a state yet. So they sent out more troops because they wanted, in case something did happen, they wanted to be able to protect their colonies. So they sent out more troops to kind of build that enforcement for those colonies, to make them want to follow what those laws were. And the last one.
Prevented, stopped any Americans from living in the close border of the U.S.
So they didn't want any of the Anglo-Americans living close to the U.S.-Texas border. So they made them have to move away from the border. Okay? We're going to refer back to this in just a little bit. Okay? So it caused an issue. So now, the law includes, this is where you're going to start. Where it says the decree of April 6, 1830. I'm going to give you a helper to help you get started. The law includes. You're going to write here in that box. The law includes. Oh, y'all already wrote, so hold on. The law includes.
How do you want us to write it? Like this or like write it like that?
Write it across.
Wait.
Yeah, just have to sharpen. You just sharpen over there. Don't worry about it. The law includes. The law includes. And what does the law include? Yes, ma'am. Write it in your own words. Write it in your own words that you understand it better. You are writing in the box where it says decree of April 6, 1830.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Use the other pencil sharpener. Write them in your own words.
What? I already did all that.
Write it in your own words. Yes, ma'am. How do you actually go to the restroom?
You hold up the number 2. You gotta go
Make
number
sure you
2.
sign the book.
Number 2, you don't even get to go down.
I'm sorry, put that away. Come on. You should be writing. If you already have written it, then I need you to sit quietly. It is the 119. Yes, ma'am. And write it. Because when we look at it, what the laws really tell us, they were pretty much restrictions on the Anglo-Americans. They wanted to punish the Anglo-Americans in a way because they were not following the laws in the first place. So it was a way for them to try to control what they did from this point forward. They wanted to control immigration. They wanted to control the amount of goods they brought in from the U.S. They wanted to control how they or where they lived within Texas. So they wanted to get a better control over the Anglo-Americans here. They also wanted to encourage a more loyal population. Because at this point, there wasn't a lot of loyalty to the Mexican government in Texas. So that's what they were trying to build. They were trying to build a more loyal population in the state of Texas. Excuse me, in the area of Texas. But at this point, it's not a state. I was just explaining to you what it was. That's kind of a summary of what we've been talking about with the law or the decree of April 6, 1830. Let's move forward. If you don't have it, you can get it later. Okay. So, next, we have the events at Anahuac.
Who?
Anahuac.
That's my uncle.
Okay? Anahuac is now a city in Texas, out near Liberty, Texas. Okay? So, but it played an important part in the road to the Texas Revolution. The law of 1830 upset a lot of Americans in Texas.
Can I go to the restroom?
Nope.
Why not?
the Mexican government sent troops into Texas and built garrison forts across the state. 122. One of these garrisons was located in Anahuac, and under the leadership of Colonel John Bradburn. John Bradburn was an American who had supported the Mexican government during the Mexican Revolution. So, because he was faithful to the Mexican government, they took him and put him in charge of Anahuac. His primary job, he was an American. We just read that. Okay? So he was given charge over the garrison at Anahuac, the fort at Anahuac. So he had a fort, and it was filled with Mexican army, or the soldiers. So Bradburn was expected to enforce these new laws that the Mexican government had created. Okay? Again, we already know that the people don't like the laws that the government is making. So how do you think these people are going to see Bradford? They're going to hate him? What you say? It's nothing. They're not going to like him. Okay? Because he's enforcing laws that they don't agree with. Okay? All right? So, again, the Americans living in Anahuac hated Bradburn.
That's funny.
Okay? So, Bradburn, as part of his function in Anahuac. Remember, Mexico didn't have slavery. Okay? Slavery was illegal in Mexico. It wasn't a part of their civilization.
That's nice.
Okay? Texas, on the other hand, was allowed to have slaves. So, because he was loyal to the Mexican government, he allowed some of those slaves to escape. People didn't see that very nicely either. He also tried to collect taxes on the goods that the Texans brought in from the United States. Okay? So he was actually going ahead and enforcing those laws, the laws of April 6, 1830. Okay? So, what caused these events to kick off is this right here. So this is what you're going to write down, where it says events at Anahuac. Because Bradford allowed slaves to escape,
I like him. He's cool.
and he enforced the law of April 6, 1830. That's what caused the events at Anahuac. He allowed slaves to escape. He allowed slaves to escape and enforced the law of April 6, 1830.
I like him. He's cool.
So in a way, he was a hero and a villain. 1830. He was a hero to some because he allowed or helped the slaves escape. But then he was seen as a villain because the Americans in Texas at that time wanted to have those slaves. They used that slave labor for a lot of things that they were doing. Yes, ma'am.
You said 1840 or 1830?
1830. 1830.
And he did what?
April 6, 1830.
He allowed the slaves to escape and did what?
And enforced the law of April 6, 1830. All right. In May of 1832, Bradburn arrested two lawyers who claimed were interfering in his duties. William B. Travis and Patrick Jack were thrown into prison. Okay, we're going to stop right here. Go ahead and log out of your Chromebook. Log out of your Chromebook.